You stare at a $1,200 credit card bill from your college roommate's destination bachelor party. Your chest tightens as you calculate exactly how you are going to cover rent next week. Meanwhile, in the group chat, you're sending fire emojis and pretending those 3 days in Cabo were the absolute time of your life. We absorb this daily. You scroll through your feed and see your peers broadcasting from a Miami rooftop bar or posting polished photos from their third out-of-state wedding this year. It creates a suffocating illusion that everyone around you is thriving financially, while you find yourself checking your bank balance before committing to a bag of groceries. If you feel completely broke trying to keep pace, you haven't failed. You're just hitting the predictable limit of a mathematical cycle that drains your accounts. We call this the friendship tax. It is the invisible, punishing cost of financing a social calendar you cannot actually afford. The average 30-year-old is carrying over $4,000 in credit card debt. That balance rarely comes from reckless designer shopping sprees. It creeps up through 1,000 tiny cuts: $80 weekend brunches, mandatory destination baby showers, and elaborate group trips. Yielding to these baseline social expectations to keep your peer group happy is actively destroying your net worth. Let's run the exact numbers on this. A conservative estimate puts the typical friendship tax, those obligatory life events and weekly group dinners, at roughly $5,000 a year. If you put those expenses on a credit card carrying a standard 22% interest rate and only make the minimum payments, you are throwing away thousands of additional dollars in pure interest. There is a completely different path for that capital. Standard market investing, tracking the historical performance of indices like the S&P 500, offers a way to build wealth instead of draining it. The mechanism here is compound interest, a force so reliable that Albert Einstein reportedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. This graph shows a 30-year timeline, plotting what happens if you convert that $5,000 annual friendship tax into a monthly investment. That is roughly $416 a month. Assuming a historical average return of 10%, your money begins to multiply. 3 decades later, that flat monthly input has grown into over $800,000. Every time you pay the friendship tax, you are trading a near $1 million future for fleeting memories and matching trip t-shirts and overpriced cocktails forgotten by morning. Why do we do this? If the math clearly shows an $800,000 penalty, why do rational humans willingly choose to bankrupt themselves? The answer is social comparison theory. We are biologically hardwired to measure our own success by looking at what our peers are doing. But you are comparing yourself to a fake rich illusion. Many of the friends setting that high spending baseline are funding their lifestyle entirely through massive credit card debt. Others rely on invisible safety nets. They have heavy financial support from their parents, covering their rent or down payments, details they conveniently leave off their social media feeds. These elaborate gift-giving routines and mandatory vacations have evolved into a bizarre financial hostage situation. Everyone is tapped out, but nobody wants to be the first person to suggest stopping. You end up living in a state of permanent financial emergency, burning your own capital just to keep up with an illusion of wealth that does not actually exist. Stepping off this treadmill does not require you to become a hermit. Instead, it requires establishing bulletproof financial boundaries. You have to learn the power of selective cheapness. Guarding your budget is an intentional, protective strategy, not a personal failure. When the group suggests a restaurant that will blow your monthly budget, offer a sharp alternative. Be the person who organizes a potluck dinner. Alternatively, map out a challenging local hike, or track down free museum days to keep your weekend full without draining your wallet. This creates the ultimate reality check for your social circle. The right people in your life will understand your goals and actively support your financial responsibility. The toxic ones will try to make you feel guilty for refusing to spend money you don't have. You have a choice. You can look wealthy on Instagram today, or you can quietly build substantial wealth for tomorrow. For most people, you cannot do both. Stop